So, this is the special debate for Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Austin No Doubt Trout. Saul is 41 wins, undefeated, with a draw thrown in there, 30 knockouts, 11 decisions. No Doubt Trout, undefeated, 14 knockouts out of 26 wins, 12 decisions. That's basically it. Firstly, I'm going to start off with Chris Connolly. So, Chris, what do you think about Saul Canelo Alvarez?
Yeah, I really like him. He's definitely improved with time. Maybe I think he's a little bit overrated, but it's a good fight. He's a good fighter himself.
What do you think about Austin No Doubt Trout?
Yeah, I think he shocked everyone. He arrived when he beat Cotto. At a wrong weight for Cotto, but he definitely arrived. I think he's proper improving. Really good defensive fighter, good footwork, good set of skills, basic skills.
Definitely good points. What do you think about Saul Canelo Alvarez then, Armando?
Well, I mean, Saul Alvarez is he pretty much is the next big thing once Floyd and Pac and a couple of others leave. I think he's the future of, in my opinion, of boxing. Probably here, maybe in the States, and probably for Mexico. He's probably the next pay-per-view star. Very talented, very bright, very young, and very untested yet. So it's gonna be very much a challenge for him. But I think he's definitely ready. How ready? We'll find out this weekend.
So what about the opponent? What do you think about him?
About Austin?
Yeah, No Doubt Trout.
Well, just like Chris said, I mean, he literally arrived in a UFO, pretty much after beating Cotto in Madison Square Garden in Cotto's hometown, his home turf. Won with ease. He all of a sudden now everybody's like, who's this Austin Trout guy? He had a decent sized win against Delvin Rodriguez, but obviously the Cotto fight put him on the map. And he's pretty technical. I think if I was Alvarez, I wouldn't undermine this guy, and I would definitely be at tip-top form in the ring against him, because Austin, while he may not have a lot of power, he does know how to fight on the back foot, and is a little bit slick. So it's going to be a good match. It's going to be a great match.
Okay, yeah, that's good points. So the main talking point that I've noticed this week is the one-way rematch clause. So starting with you, Chris, what do you think about that one-way rematch clause in favour of Saul Canelo Alvarez?
Well, that's Golden Boy just protecting their gravy train, isn't it? He's their next big thing. He's going to be their big money spinner. I feel a bit sorry for Austin Trout, because he's a champion in his own right. You'd expect them both to have a rematch clause in the contract, especially if it were close.
Yeah, you would expect it, yeah.
Yeah, my personal feeling is it could be a controversial decision for Saul Alvarez.
What do you think, Armando?
Well, I think that's it's like Chris said, they're pretty much in our sense, realistically, if Canelo wins controversially, he moves on, he continues with his career. Austin Trout's left hand, with the hand in his bag, the hand, with his bag in his hand. Now, realistically, Austin has to beat this kid not once, convincingly, but he's got to beat the kid twice. So Austin has the chips stacked against him, and he's got to come out with flying colors, not only in the first fight, but then he's got to defend his titles in the second fight. But still, it's a great opportunity. I mean, some people are dying for fights like these, with the Mayweathers, the Pacquiaos, if you want to stick with the Marquezes in there, the Floyds. So, I mean, any boxer would say, you know what, why not? If I got to beat this kid twice to get to a Floyd, to get to somebody else, then I got to do what I got to do. Okay. But it is pretty crappy for Golden Boy to be very one-sided. But, I mean, any promoter's going to do.
Yeah, pretty much dicking on top of their man there, aren't they?
That. They're going to look out for their own more than anybody else's. I don't blame them. I mean, you're looking out after your boy more than somebody else's, so.
Okay, I'm not going to ask you who I think's going to win the fight yet. So don't tell me who you think's going to win yet. We're going to keep that for later.
Sure.
No problem.
But I'm going to go through a few of the attributes right now. Now we're going to start with the power. Now, who do you think has got the power in this fight?
Yeah, definitely that goes with Saul. No question.
Mm-hmm.
It's his style. He's an all-action style fighter. He throws good combinations to the body. He attacks both head and body. Unlike Trout, who's more of a defensive style fighter. He's got a good jab. He does hook sometimes, but it's rare he gets in toe-to-toe wars.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think about the finishing ability of both fighters?
Trout's not a finisher.
No, he can't finish. He can't close the show.
He's a show. He'll show off if he drop. I mean, if he dropped Alvarez, he wouldn't put him away. He'd probably show off to judges showing that he got him in big trouble and then try again.
Mm-hmm.
If it's the other way around, we all know that Alvarez will go for him anyway. If he gets him in any sort of trouble, he's going to be all over him like an absolute rush.
Mm-hmm. So there's the power and the finishing ability, the ability to close the show, are both with Saul Canelo Alvarez. Yeah, Chris?
Yeah, I'd just expand though and say he has had some fights with people like Matthew Watton and Lovemore and Dool, where he has looked a bit one-dimensional with his attacks, and against Shea Mosley. So he's not an absolute. I wouldn't say he's a massively concussive puncher, but I'd say he's got the advantage, slight advantage.
Okay, what do you think, Armando?
Well, Canelo definitely is substantially in every shape. He just looks like he's got bricks in his hands. He looks like he's a kid that can punch. He looks like a kid that was probably bred to fight. He looks like, he just looks like a fighter. He fights like a fighter. He isn't some running gun Mexican guy, like say maybe Older Morales, not Older Morales, but earlier 2000s Morales. This guy he's kind of a little bulked up version of Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. He's got some power in both hands, and if he gets you in trouble, he's getting you out of there. So definitely definitely Canelo has the upper hand. If the time came to where somebody's getting out of there, I think Canelo can get Trout out of there, as opposed to Trout getting Canelo out of there.
So you don't rate the finishing ability or the ability to close the show with Austin Trout then, no?
I think if Austin were to knock down Canelo, I think he would try to win the round and continue on. To try to get the points advantage. We've been wrong before, but I just think that's the kind of fighter he is, as opposed to Canelo. If Canelo gets the guy hurt, Canelo's going to close the show. He's done it in the past.
Do you think the issue with Austin Trout is he admires his work a little bit too much?
Yeah.
I just think he's not one of those kind of guys that likes to get a little dirty in the ring. I don't mean dirty like dirty tactics. I don't think he's somebody who likes. Against Cotto he was against the ropes and he was throwing it and stuff like that. But he'd rather fight on the back foot. He's not somebody that's going to look for the KO. He's not somebody that's going to engage much. He just wants to do what he needs to do, and I'm not saying the bare minimum. But, he'll do what he's got to do to win the fight.
He ain't got a killer instinct, has he, Austin Trout? Whereas Saul Alvarez definitely has a killer instinct.
That's true. So let's move on to the speed, okay?
Yeah.
Who do you think's the better fighter in terms of speed, hand speed and foot speed?
Yeah, I'd have to say that goes with Trout. His whole style is built upon speed, maybe defensive speed from some people's point of view, but it is about speed. Alvarez is more power. I would say that Austin Trout has got quicker hands because he has to use them more defensively than Saul Alvarez has to.
That's a good point. Yeah, what do you think, Armando?
Well, when it comes to footwork, Austin Trout definitely has the upper hand in that. But when it comes to what you got in your fists, with the speed on top of your power, I think it's kind of not 100% sure. I think it might be a little bit of a dead even, maybe a little bit by Trout, but for the most part, when it comes to the footwork and the speed, I think Trout's a little bit faster than him.
Would you say power and speed combined, Canelo is the more efficient fighter?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
In an attacking sense, absolutely. Yeah.
In a defensive sense, it'll be with Austin Trout, though. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good even way to think about it. Moving on from the speed. Let's look at the chins. Now, what do you think about each guy's chin? Starting with you, Chris. What do you think about Canelo and his chin?
You see, because he goes forward so often, he's bound to get caught. He's been caught by quite a few fighters, and he's never shown any real terrible effect of being hit. But I would say Austin Trout's never really been shooken up either, so I'd give it to Canelo just on his style. I mean, look at the guy's neck. He's got a neck like a horse. He's massive.
That's a good one, yeah. Okay, I mean, he has got shook up once, I think, by was it Cotto's brother who put him in a bit of trouble?
Yeah, I think Jose Cotto. Yeah, but that's when he was the he was like
Matthew
Hatton.
This was back then, so.
Yeah, this was when he was like on the undercard of an undercard. I mean, his fights weren't even televised. I mean, it was probably 7-8 fights ago, probably, maybe even a little bit older. Probably. But Canelo has evolved from that kind of fighter, definitely a lot more. I think if they were to fight now, Canelo would shut him down quite quickly. I think, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Well, moving on from the chin, what do you think about the experience factor in this fight? Which one is the more experienced fighter? There's no right or wrong answer in this factor because I'll give you my opinion on this one after this one, unlike the other two, because you can watch my own prediction video for that one. This is me asking other people. So starting with you, Chris, go on. Experience.
A lot of people would definitely say Saul Alvarez has had more fights, so they go that route. But if you look at his record, I mean, you've never heard of half the people he's beaten to start with. Mm-hmm. Just on his last 7 or 8 fights, maybe. I mean, you've got Baldomir and Hatton, Rhodes, Gomez. He's not very good. Cintron, Mosley. You'd have to go with him with experience because he's fought at a higher level, just slightly higher level, but for a longer time.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Armando?
Well, yeah. I mean, he's been whether he's fighting he's fighting back shelf opposition now. I mean. He's not fighting these guys in their primes. He's not fighting these guys that are, that are going to really give him a little bit of a fight. But based on that, he's had the world has been looking down on Saul Alvarez. And there is some pressure in that, based on having the prime time, the world stage set on him. And that is experience, whether you think the opposition is a C-rate fighter or an A-level fighter. So probably Alvarez more than Trout.
Yeah.
Which has got the more impressive wins on his record then?
You see, I'd probably go with Alvarez on that as well because beating Miguel Cotto at middleweight is not as good as beating him lower down.
At light middleweight, yeah.
At light middleweight, beg your pardon, yeah. I mean, if you look through his record there, he's got what would you say, David Lopez, not too bad. The rest, you're struggling to think who any of them are, to be fair.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. What do you think, Armando?
With Trout and his resume?
Yeah, what do you think about his resume? Because a lot of people go through Saul's resume, but not many people go through Trout's resume. What do you think about Trout's resume?
Well, Trout, obviously, the Cotto was his landmark win now. But prior to that, he fought a fighter named Delvin Rodriguez. I'm not sure if you guys ever saw him fight.
I've heard of him. I've not actually seen too much of him.
He fought a Fight of the Year contender maybe about 2 years ago, and he's a good fighter. I'm not saying he's a great fighter, but he's somebody that even if Canelo were to fight this Delvin Rodriguez guy, I'd give Canelo some credit for beating a guy named Delvin Rodriguez. Now, Delvin Rodriguez is going to fight on ESPN shortly, I think in May, against Freddie Hernandez. I'm not sure if you guys know him.
Yeah.
But besides that, yeah, Canelo probably's got the better resume. As given the opposition, he's just for namesake, he's got the better opposition.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the only thing I would say was, but both of these guys have not really fought too many opposition at the highest level. Maybe they haven't. The first thing I'd say about Saul is, a lot of these guys are out of their weight. People like Matty Hatton and Love Mondo are brilliant spoilers, so I don't disagree that it's imperative for them to knock these guys out, because all they do is try and survive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but, and also Shane Mosley at this stage in his career, he's not really tried to win since the Mayweather fight.
Yeah, and he was they just looked very sad. It was a sad day for that day. Was very sad in the sense of he just got shut down by Mayweather, terribly shut down.
Mm-hmm. So. I mean, looking back at Austin Trout, Obviously, he's got his massive win over Miguel Cotto, which is a brilliant win for him. Good breakout win. He's obviously got this fight off the back of it. The only problem is, how good is... And this is a question I'm going to ask you. How good is Miguel Cotto at 154? Chris?
No, his style doesn't suit 154 division.
No.
I mean, he's a bully, and if you go up against a bigger bully than yourself, you're in big trouble. It's exactly the same situation Ricky Hatton had. At light welterweight, fine, he could outbully anybody. As soon as you move him up, naturally bigger man, put him on his back foot.
Mm-hmm. Now, where did he start to get put down and beaten up? Miguel Cotto? It was the Margarito fight, so
yeah, he got mashed
147 pounds, yeah? So he was brilliant at 140 pound. 147, he was still good, but he had his limitations.
Yeah.
154.
He has no business at 154. Now, the fighters he before, yes, Margot, the redemption fight, even though Pac had already fucked his eye up pretty bad. Mayorga, Yuri Foreman. They were kind of to build his self-esteem back up. They're trying to get Miguel Cotto, in high spirits, and obviously coming off that Margarito win, he felt great. And then for some reason, Floyd felt, I think it's time for me and Cotto to mix it up. So, and he did well. And then now with Trout beating Cotto, because Cotto was looking great. I mean, people were like, damn, this is a Cotto that fought well against Floyd. Mm-hmm. And Trout pretty much taking the air out of Miguel Cotto's balloon, because everybody knew Alvarez and Miguel Cotto were probably going to meet up very shortly had he beat Austin Trout. Trout spoiled it. Trout gets the spoils of that win, which is, Saul Alvarez.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people could say that Austin Trout's style suited Cotto anyway, to be fair. With him being a defensive fighter, we were never going to come forward and meet Cotto at middle at ring.
True.
And with Austin, I think he can what's the word I'm looking for? He can adapt to certain situations. He isn't just, all defensive all the time. I think he can adapt, because the first couple of rounds were a little bit competitive between him and Cotto, but I think the later rounds, I think Austin Trout pretty much stole the later rounds, in my opinion. So he adapted to that situation. And honestly, Austin Trout looked pretty big against Cotto. And Alvarez is a full-fledged 154-pounder. He's not a little guy.
Armando, let me stop you there. Okay? Now, Saul Alvarez, okay, and this is an open question to everyone,
sure,
has a reputation for beating up on people who are below his weight limits, yeah?
Yeah.
Does,
that's the truth. Yeah, the truth. Yeah, that's the truth.
Let's go through it. Love Mondo, welterweight. Matty Hatton, welterweight. Ryan Rhodes, 154-pound fighter, good win. Right? Who else did he fight? Gomez.
Alfonso Gomez, Kermit Cintron.
Both 147-pound fighters. Right? Who else is there that he fought? Lopez, 140-pound fighter.
Yeah, that was it.
But I'll talk about that in a minute. And Shane Mosley, I'm going to give him a pass on, because he was on steroids before, so he's probably got the body of a 154-pound fighter now anyway. So I'll give him a pass on Mosley. But Lopez, talk to me about Lopez and that fight. Talk to me about that fight, guys. Come on. What do you think about that fight?
It was a complete mismatch. As soon as they got in the ring, it was like a man and boy, wasn't it?
It was.
And every time, I mean, it was a great attack that Saul Alvarez put on. Straight to the body, with the obvious way to go, carrying more weight, it was going to be looser. Mm-hmm. I mean, he absolutely destroyed him to the body. It was a good showing from Alvarez. You can't really criticise him. You can say that he's not fighting a guy in his weight class. You
can only knock out what's put in front of you.
Yeah, of course you can.
Armando?
Yeah, I think obviously he was supposed to fight Victor Ortiz at 154.
A 147-pound fighter.
Yes, a 147-pound fighter. But I would rather have him fight Ortiz than Lopez. But I had Ortiz winning the fight against Lopez, but Lopez broke his jaw. The fight was stopped.
And obviously, yes. Victor Ortiz gets quitting whenever the times get hard. So yeah, when times get good, what's the saying? When the going gets tough, Ortiz fucks off home.
Okay. Back to the Lopez and Canelo. I honestly think Canelo didn't want this fight. Canelo was just like, really, guys, like you're gonna put me in. Canelo has a bad aura. Not him, but he has some kind of bad, because he was supposed to fight Paul Williams. The thing happened with Paul Williams. Terrible thing, paralyzed from the waist down. Yeah. He was supposed to fight James Kirkland. For some reason, Kirkland couldn't. I don't know what happened. He couldn't fight him. It was
promotional issues.
Yes.
He was getting done by Golden Boy apparently.
And he wanted, I think, a lot of money. He wanted to get paid.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's Paul Williams, James Kirkland, Victor Ortiz. You know what happened with Victor Ortiz, and now Miguel Cotto. So Canelo wants these big fights. Yeah. It's just shit happens. Shit happens, and 4 shits in one toilet bowl is a lot of shit. So I'm just saying, you take a shit 4 different times in the toilet bowl, you would be pissed.
Without flushing.
Without flushing. So I think he wants these big fights. I don't think he wanted the Lopez fight, but they said, you know what? Fuck it. I'll fight this Lopez cat. And he did what he wanted with Lopez. Mm-hmm, yeah. Lopez had a lot of heart, but he was overmatched fighting a full-fledged 154-pounder. Yeah. He had no real reason to be in the ring, but it had this little Rocky feeling of, this underdog who beat the guy, and then now he's get his chance. And it had a good feel story, but realistically, all boxing enthusiasts and people know that, dude, this is going to be a horrible matchup. And he knocked him down 5 times, and that's the truth.
Pretty much broke him. Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
My thoughts on the whole thing, because I'm gonna give him a little slack for this one, right? I'll probably will get abuse for that, but let me just point this out, okay? Lopez beat the man, didn't he? So I don't see why he should be overlooked for the other fight. I know he was out of his weight limit, but he beat the man who's going to get the fight anyway. So I don't. They should have at least offered it to him and said, "Do you want to take it? Come on, you did beat the man," and he said, "Yeah." Canelo went, all right, then I guess so. And they had to take it. Obviously, horrible mismatch. It wasn't worth buying tickets unless you like to see knockouts. Like if you like to see pain and shit. But I can't really fault him too much. I'll give that. Okay, let's rate that fight out of 10. Okay, how many stars do you give it, Chris? Out of 10.
I'd give it 4 stars because he did put up an impressive showing, and it wasn't. I mean, Lopez was definitely out of his weight. We all know this. But like you said, he did beat the man who was supposed to face the man. Mm-hmm. It's hard to be overly critical of Josecito Lopez for winning.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Armando?
Well, yes, he did, but I think there was better options for him. I think he could have maybe fought Erislandy Lara. I think he could have fought Angulo. Mm-hmm. Could have fought the Carlos Molina, the 154-pounder.
Has Neody beat him? Has Neody beat him?
Has he? Has he fought before?
I don't know. Or is that someone else?
I'm not sure if they've. I really don't know, but I think that's something, because think about it. Carlos Molina beat Kermit Cintron, and then lo and behold, Kermit Cintron gets the title shot at Canelo Alvarez. I'm like, well, why didn't Carlos Molina fight him? But for whatever reason, they didn't make the fight happen.
Yeah.
There is something. There are people out there for Canelo. The like I said, Erislandy Lara or Angulo.
Yeah, my mistake. He did not. No, he did not.
No, he didn't.
Okay. And if y'all haven't seen Carlos Molina fight, this is a guy that
I'll definitely see the fight. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. He beat Kirkland, even though he got some bullshit disqualification. He beat Kermit, who ended up getting a title shot, and he got a kind of a crappy draw with Erislandy Lara. Mm-hmm. So
he could have got the fight, yeah.
Man.
Oh yeah. I mean, how many stars though, mate? How many stars?
Lopez, Canelo. It was exciting for what it was worth, a complete ass whooping, but 1 out of 10 stars. 1 out of 10 stars. Let's see. Yeah. Well, no, I'm not saying the 1 star out of 10. I'm just saying between 1 and 10 stars, I think I'll probably give it like a 4 or a 5.
Oh, I thought you were going to say a 1.
No. A 4 or 5. A 4 or 5 stars.
I wouldn't give it any more over 5, but I would give it maximum a 4, maybe a 3, because I can't fault the two guys. Promoters, promoters are shit, aren't they? So that's what happened at the end of the day. Moving on from that, let's get back to the real fight that's happening. Okay,
Yes.
you know, Saul Alvarez and Austin Trout. You know, what chances do you think Austin Trout has to win this fight?
He's got a good chance. He's got a fair chance. I mean, it's
Well,
not.
let me stop you there. Is it a fair chance?
Well, no, it's not a fair chance because he's never going to get a decision, is there? If he wins 11 at rounds, he's not going to get given them.
Well, let me rephrase the question, okay? Let me rephrase the question. How do you guys feel about this fight being in Texas? Chris?
Yeah, I'm not too keen on that, to be fair. I mean, it's going to be all pro Alvarez, absolute 99% Alvarez. All his fanboys are going to turn out. Every time he misses a punch, they're going to be cheering. There's going to be a lot of pressure on them judges. Could be a bit of money on them for all we know.
Yeah, could be. Wouldn't be the first time.
But this is Austin Trout, who also stepped into Madison Square Garden and beat Miguel Cotto as well. So he is a little bit of a spoiler. But, you know, James Kirkland and Alfredo Angulo. Kirkland was clearly winning the fight. And before the stoppage, the HBO panelists said the judges' scorecards were released, and they had Angulo almost winning nearly every single round. That's the corruption with a lot of these hometown, you know, let's think about it. Texas is Little Mexico. It's the backyard of Little Mexico, pretty much. So even if in the ring, if it wasn't up to the judges, if it was just the two guys, obviously they are going to be face to face in the ring, he has a good chance of winning, as well as the Alvarez. I think these guys are, each guy has a chance of beating the other guy. Now, what's going to happen outside the ring is we'll have to find out. But it's not to where Austin is going to be overmatched or Alvarez is going to be overmatched, in my opinion.
Okay, what chance? Okay, let's give a percentage chance to it then. Chris, give us percent.
Just in my own mind, without no.
Yeah, just give it to yourself.
No, I'd probably go 55 for Trout.
What do you think, Armando?
He stole the words right out of my mouth. About 55-45 in favor of Trout. I think he's going to be a little too slick. But I think Alvarez is gonna put some pressure on him, and it's gonna make some fireworks. It's gonna create some fireworks.
So you guys shocked that Canelo is the favourite on the bookies?
No, I mean there's been a lot more media interest in Saul Alvarez. You've got to be honest. How many people knew a whole deal about Austin Trout before he beat Cotto?
No, not many people.
Everybody knew about Saul Alvarez. We've known about him for a few years now.
Yeah. What do you think, Armando?
You can't blame him. I mean, he's pretty much fighting in his backyard. He's the money man. He's pretty much bringing. I think the fights has 38,000 people attending. From I think what I read, 38,000 people are going to attend.
What type of stadium are they fighting in?
The Alamo Dome in I think San Antonio. And let's be honest, about 37,999 people are going to be rooting for Canelo Alvarez. The one person that's probably going to be rooting for Austin Trout in the crowd is probably going to be his wife.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll bring some fans.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean. But
I think he's going to be definitely shut out in terms of fans. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's going to be.
They're going to cheer for him even if he sneezes.
Yeah, exactly. Probably for every 100 fans of Canelo, there's probably going to be 2 Trout fans, probably.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. I mean, okay, so we're probably going to call it on this one. So, Chris, give me your prediction.
Saul Alvarez via controversial decision.
Ooh.
I do think Austin Trout will outbox him. It just depends for how long and how impressive to the judges he is.
Go on, Armando. Give me your prediction.
I've been juggling with this back and forth. It can be, today it can be 55 Trout. Tomorrow it can be 55 Canelo. I really don't know. But for right now, I think Trout. I think Alvarez probably is going to win. Close fight. But he probably is going to win.
Well, for me, like I said, I think it's going to be a controversial decision. There'll be a lot of times in this fight where Canelo might not even be able to land a glove on Mr. Trout, but it's in his backyard almost, or on his front lawn. The fight, there's a lot of things in this fight that have got me worried that it's going to be controversial. So I'm going to say controversy, split decision win to Canelo.